You know what you should do? You should follow me on Twitter at Bromo018. Link in the description. Do it now. What is going on, viewers? Bromo18 here as always, and today we begin talking about FIFA 20 once again. The hype is starting to build now. We are, as of recording this, on the week of E3, but this is relevant throughout the rest of the summer, really. Something that was released a couple of days ago, but has only just came to my attention, is as we look ahead to FIFA 20, is something that actually is quite surprising, and that is that EA have came out and been quite transparent, which is a bit of a surprise. You know, sort of giving us fans communication and talking about, you know, potential improvements and stuff. And it is, as it happens, that they've turned out and announced that they'll be doing these gameplay changes for FIFA 20. At least they say so. Of course, you should always bear in mind that they've said plenty of things and not followed through with them. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. But it is a start. There is some transparency. They said they've been really working on the community, or the community feedback. And then this is what they're coming up with in terms of gameplay itself. Not, you know, the actual modes and stuff. As they go through here, talk about priorities and feedback from the community and stuff, and then move on to the actual areas themselves. And AR defending is one that they focus on in particular, talking about the tackling defending system, how there needs to be more emphasis on manual defending rather than allowing it to be so easy for people, and that's something I completely agree with. And according to this, they are working on it. They talk about a renewed defending system with you know, alterations to the positioning and the flow on the pitch, etc. And as you can see here, manual defending will be emphasized and result in more rewarding results. And that's music to my ears, to be honest. You know, I think it does allow people to be too automated and not active thinking enough. And you know, to see they're working on it, hopefully, is promising, to say the least. The likes of an improved jockey system, more focus on the manual defending. Same with containing as well. You know, when you hold down A, the effectiveness of that will be reduced, and keeping players at a further distance. Again, that is more realistic. You tend to find that a lot of defenders, when they are jockeying, when they are containing a player, they don't get very close, and you know, it doesn't really work out either a lot of the time when they do that. And whereas on FIFA, they can get very close and it works out quite well. So you know, it's too easy just to hold A. So they'll be working on this, and as they say, this is what they're doing for FIFA 20. So it's good to see. Meanwhile, they're talking about 1v1 shooting consistency. Again, something that I found a lot of problem, to be honest. They're saying that 1v1 shooting accuracy in general will be improved. More shots on target, better consistency, which is something I've found has been a massive problem in this year's edition. Same with open goals as well, which is good to see. Goalkeeper reactions. Now, if you'd have watched my Ajax career mode series, you'll have seen there's been a lot of goalkeeper issues, and you know, we do need to see a lot of refinement to that. Whether or not they mean this, I don't talk about that in this specific section itself, but hopefully the fact that they are trying to refine it in general will mean that there are going to be changes there. Meanwhile, lots of shot elevation, power tuning, you know, they're allowing for low powered shots, as it states here, similar to driven shots, creating more consistency, etc, etc. More refinements again, and that is a key word, refine. More refinements to that area. Shooting in general needs a lot of work, I do think, and you know, time finishing, as we're going to move on to here, not, you know, it is what it is. In fact, we'll talk about it now. They're moving it to 2 frames to make it harder, which is good to see. I would personally like it to just be removed in general, to be honest. I think time finishing is just a load of rubbish. No one asked for it, so you know, I don't see why it was implemented. And EA have been called, you know, they've just been responsible for doing things like that, just implementing things that no one's asked for, no one wanted, instead of working on the things that people want to see changed and improved and added. So, you know, preferably I'd love to see this gone, but if it looks like it's here to stay, so at least they are trying to refine it. They do say they'll be less precise, etc. and difficult shots like 180 shots, which happen all the time to a ridiculous degree. Same with passes as well, will result in less powerful shots and should be less accurate, although they don't actually state that here. We'll see how that one pans out. Same with volleying. Something that I did find in particular, two-player headers. You see a lot of the time where players will collide and stuff when they're in the air, both trying to head the ball, defender and an attacker. It does say that, you know, when they're colliding for the ball mid-air, it will make it more difficult for the attacker to score, which is good. That's what we want to see. That is realistic, and it's something that has been quite a problem over the years in FIFA. It hasn't been sort of represented in the games, but thankfully, you know, they do at least say they are working on improving that and making that more realistic, because it shouldn't be a case where even when you're both meeting in the air with a defender and attacker, the attacker can get it away, get the header away, and it will go in. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's going to be a lot more challenge and a lot more competitive than that. So it's good to see they're working on that. Same with volley shot accuracy, just trying to tone it down, it looks like, which again is good. We see a lot of volleys, at least competitive FIFA, not so much offline, but competitive FIFA, we see a lot of goals scored from that situation, and it's good to see that they're getting rid of it. For any Ultimate Team players out there, you'll know what this is: chain skill moves. A lot of players will exploit this to as much of a degree as possible. Looks like they're trying to tone it down. They've, as you can see here, the team has tackled this feedback by adding error to consecutive skill moves, increase the likelihood of the player losing control of the ball. Error is increased exponentially when chaining more than 2 skill moves, making each subsequent skill move more error prone than the last, which is great to see. Because certainly in Ultimate Team, and I haven't played it this year because of, that's a whole other story, we don't need to get into that. But for people who do play on Ultimate Team, I know this is such a problem. And again, it just loses its realism. And I'm an advocate that it can still be realistic and fun. You know, it doesn't have to be this sort of arcadey feel where people are just, you know, coming out with roulettes mixed with Ronaldo chops and then flick ups, etc. It doesn't have to be like that all the time. And people, there's a lot of room for exploitation as well, and people, you know, take that to the full advantage. So it's good to see they're trying to work on that and improve it to as much as they can. Set piece positioning as well, a massive area of, well, it needs a lot of improvement in my opinion. Things that they do talk about, which I think is the most important factor, is that a lot of players, such as here, marking a taller, you'd find a short defender marking a taller attacker, or that a dangerous attacker is not present in the box. That is a big problem. I have found that on corners this season, on attacking corners, my centre-backs won't go forward for the corner. They always stay back, and that's so strange. Why is that the case? You know, your centre-backs always go forward. They usually, not always, but usually they are the tallest players and have the best aerial ability. So why would they not be in the box or a corner? You know, it just makes no sense to me, and we need to see that replicated ASAP. It should have been done in a patch. It shouldn't even been in the game, let's face it. I mean, that is basic football common sense, basic knowledge. Your 2 centre-backs, 3 centre-backs, whatever you're playing, go forward for the corner. So, thankfully, that will be gone. The same with manual goalkeeper movement being heavily reduced with slower, more realistic speed. We see this in particular with corners again. See a lot of keepers, people switch to manual keepers or bring them out as fast as they can as the corner's being taken, so then they'll be in a position to punch it away. Looks like that will be toned down as well in terms of the speed and the movement, so that will be good to see. And then we move on to passing, which has been quite an area of debate over the course of the season, really. They put an increased error on difficult position passing, 180 degrees first time, etc. That's fine. You know, it's good to see actually, because a lot of times unrealistic things are being pulled off, as long as it's represented fairly. You know, some players can do it on a regular basis, and that needs to be shown in game in terms of first time and stuff, and pressured passes. So that's fine as long as they do it right. I won't hold my breath. We'll see how that one goes. Increased accuracy for passes in very easy situations, non-pressured, body positioned, etc. That's great. I find a big problem with a lot of passes that should not have an issue. They should be going to where they are going. A centre-back passing it to a full-back with all space around him, no problem. So to see that they are trying to increase the accuracy for that, again, is good. They're also adding something called user-controlled dinked passes, will be a new option. Where you sort of just lift it over defender's leg, which is great to see. That's something that we have seen plenty of times in real life, and it's good to see that they're gonna try and implement this into the game. Again, it's all about realism, it's all about options, and that will give us that in abundance, really. And then the driven pass and go as well. It's something I've never really thought about, but actually that is a good idea. I do a lot of driven passes in game. They're quite regular for me, but I've never thought about you know, give and go at the same time. When you think of a driven pass, you think of them more planting their foot in the ground, so there's not a lot of movement after. But I think that's certainly something that is a good addition, and I look forward to seeing that. That is for sure. And finally, what they talk about is player switching. They say a lot of people have provided them feedback about automatic switching on aerial balls and loose balls, switching to a certain player and you can't switch to another player even though you might be nearer to the ball. I completely empathise with that situation 100%. Suffer from that all the time. It will switch and lock onto a player who's nowhere near the ball even though there's one closer, which is really strange. But thankfully it looks as though that will be removed for FIFA 20. A lot of other things as well. Players, you know, it's switching to the incorrect player, etc. We'll see how they what they do with this. But again, it's good to see that there'll be changes in that area. And that's about it, really. Just wanted to give you a brief look through as much as I possibly could. I will leave the link to this in the description as we're looking to head to FIFA 20. It's good to see that they're being transparent. Whether or not they'll add it to the game, we'll wait and see. But for now, we're going to round it off there, guys. So if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the video. And on that note, I'm Brom18, and I will see you soon.